How to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. Is it even possible? Or is it just another fitness myth like those 30-day transformations or magic fat burning teas? There's a lot of confusing information out there, and without a clear understanding, you could end up spinning your wheels, wasting time and wondering why the mirror looks exactly the same month after month. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how a body recomposition works, what you need to do to make it happen, and how to avoid the common mistakes that keep a lot of people from seeing results. By the end, you'll have the full actionable plan on how you can transform your body without the fluff or nonsense. So let's dive right in. First things first, is a body recomposition actually possible? The short answer is yes. A body recomposition is where you build muscle and lose fat at the same time. And here's the very summarized science behind it. If you create a calorie deficit, your body taps into the fat stores you have for energy. The slight twist is when you combine that with proper resistance training and enough protein, your body can actually use some of those fat stores, so the calories from the fat stores, along with the protein, to help you build muscle. So yes, it's entirely possible to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Kind of like the fitness holy grail, right? But here's where it gets a bit more nuanced. The amount of muscle you can build while cutting depends heavily on two main factors: your body fat percentage and your training experience. In other words, not all recompositions are created equal. So let's break down the factors to set realistic expectation and help you get the best possible results. So let's start with body fat percentage, as this can be a major factor in your recomposition journey. Think of body fat as stored energy. If you're very lean, say around 10% fat or lower, your body is in a state where it wants to hold on to that fat more than ever. It's almost like a kind of built-in survival mode, and it's going to resist using those precious stores to build new muscle. In fact, at that point, if you push much further, you may even risk losing muscle instead of gaining it. On the other hand, if you're carrying a bit more body fat, let's say around 25 to 30%, even above 20, you've got reserves to pull from and your body doesn't feel like it's under threat. In this case, your body is more willing to use fat stores as fuel, making it much more realistic to achieve both fat loss and muscle growth. If you're ready to get started on your own body recomposition, lose fat and build muscle, you can lose 8 pounds in the next 30 days of fat by following my 30-day free challenge. Just sign up for free in the description below. In other words, a body recomposition is more effective if you've got some extra fat. So if we look at it as a spectrum, the leaner you are, the tougher it gets to achieve both goals, while those with higher body fat percentages will find it easier to see results in both areas. Now, training experience is the other big factor here. If you're new to lifting or you're new to strength training, this is a fresh stimulus for your body and it's going to respond quickly, even if you're in a calorie deficit. This is where we get the term newbie gains. For beginners, muscle building potential is high and recomposition is definitely achievable. It's like your body is suddenly going, oh, okay, we're doing this, let's pack on some muscle. But if you're an experienced lifter with years of consistent training, you know it's a different ballgame. Muscle growth naturally slows down the longer you've been at it, even in a surplus. So for advanced lifters, recomposition becomes a fair bit more challenging because your body is already adapted to the stimulus. It doesn't mean you can't build muscle and lose fat at the same time. It's just that the gains will be a fair bit smaller and progress will feel slower. So again, it's all on a spectrum. The less experience you have with lifting, the more muscle you're likely to gain, also while cutting fat. If you're coming back from a period away from training, you have the advantage of muscle memory. Your body remembers that muscle it had before and is ready to rebuild it faster. And of course, genetics play a role in this too. But as you can see, if you're new to a structured resistance training program and have some extra body fat to lose, you're in an ideal position for a body recomposition. Just remember, the recomposition will be the byproduct of a well-designed fat loss phase, because really, who wants to end up skinny fat? I thought so. Now let's talk about resistance training and why it's essential during fat loss. I know what you're thinking. Lifting weights doesn't exactly torch calories like hardcore cardio sessions. That's true. And its value lies in muscle preservation or even muscle growth. As highlighted earlier, beginners following a structured resistance training program, eating more protein and staying in a meaningful calorie deficit, you're in an ideal spot to build muscle and lose fat simultaneously. I've seen it happen time and time again, like my client Hossam, who recently lost over 42 pounds of fat and built muscle by focusing on strength training. This approach didn't just make him lose weight, it reshaped his entire body. So lifting during fat loss doesn't just help with pounds on a scale, it sculpts your body and builds strength. You need to stop searching for the plan or the secret. There's no specific recomp program. Body recomposition isn't a secret plan or a special formula. It's the result of setting up the right conditions. The non-negotiable is a calorie deficit. You won't lose fat without it, and you certainly won't achieve a body recomposition by eating in a surplus. In practice, treat a recomp phase like a well-structured fat loss phase that emphasizes on muscle retention at the very least. Set your calories to around 20% below maintenance and prioritize aiming for at least 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your goal body weight per day. Then pair that with a strong resistance training focused program that focuses on progressive overload. This means you're aiming to add weight or reps over time. As always, I recommend using the double progression model here, even if you're a newbie. And don't ignore cardio entirely. While it's not the star of the show, it's useful for burning extra calories. So I recommend aiming for 8 to 12,000 steps a day. If you struggle with steps, you can do a few low intensity cardio sessions a week, but don't let that overshadow the strength training. So I get this often. Should you adjust your training when cutting? Generally, the answer is no. Keep your regular strength training routine with a focus on progressive overload. Still train with the same intensity, taking most sets 1 to 2 reps away from failure. That's 1 to 2 RIR. If you take your foot off the gas, you may start to see some muscle loss. Sure, as your deficit deepens and you're getting leaner and more depleted towards the end of a cut, expect that your strength gains will slow down or just stop. And that's okay, it's part of the process. Instead of chasing big jumps in weights or reps every week, aim for small increases. For example, try to add just 2.5 pounds to a lift or an extra rep here and there. This keeps you progressing without actually burning you out. And if you're an advanced lifter, recomposition is a balancing act. Train hard without overdoing it, because the deficit itself is already putting stress on your body. So this one's for the women watching. There's a common fear that lifting weights will make you bulky. The truth is, women have much lower testosterone levels than men. So building large amounts of muscle quickly just isn't going to happen. Instead, resistance training will help you maintain muscle, giving you a leaner, more defined look rather than a bulky appearance. It'll help prevent that skinny fat look that comes from just dieting alone. Having more muscle changes your shape, and it tightens areas that might otherwise lose shape as you diet. So if you're cutting and you want a toned, athletic look, weight training is a non-negotiable. You'll come out of a dieting phase looking strong, healthy, and in way better shape than if you were to just leave out resistance training. So I want you to realize body recomposition isn't an overnight process. You need the right mindset. As your cut deepens, strength gains will likely slow down. So set realistic expectations. Instead of aiming for big changes weekly, aim for small, steady progress. Track your progress. Consistency is key. Think of it this way. If you diet hard and don't put in the effort to train intensely, you'll lose muscle along with fat. Not the goal. Keep pushing and resist the urge to take it easy. This is a gradual process and requires patience and dedication. Remember, stop searching for this special plan when it comes to body recomposition. It's the result of losing fat because of a calorie deficit and building muscle because you're training hard. Stick to a structured cut and focus on fat loss and any muscle gain will follow as a bonus. So that is all for this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and any questions you have regarding a body recomposition or any fat loss at all, do comment below. Have the best day ever, and we'll talk soon.